what else is barbaric is when you have people in American streets who are siding and unifying with people who are promoting and pushing evil. And, I try to make heads or tails of the whole thing. I understand that, people say, well, Hamas doesn't represent the average Palestinian. If you look at the majority of the Palestinians in Gaza, 50% of them are children. And, well, there's a lot of arguments to be made on the sides of, both sides of that. But, those people, they chose Hamas. I mean, they've chosen Hamas. And to go out in the street and say, I stand with Palestine. I tweeted last night, I'm a glutton for punishment, but I tweeted last night, if you stand with Palestine, then you should go stand in Palestine. The point of that, and of course a lot of people say, oh, so you're standing with Israel, a bunch of Zionists. I said, again, people on social media love to interpret things that aren't even being said. The point is, when I say, and again, it just proves that people can't think critically. When I say if you stand with Palestine, then you should go stand in Palestine, there is no nation of Palestine. There's no place you can go stand in. So who are you standing with? What are you standing with? There's not a nation to stand with. You're talking about not only a group of people, but you're talking about an ideology that's there. The ideology that has been embraced by the people there is the terrorist group Hamas. It is extreme Islam that wants to kill every Jew. Now, if you don't believe that, and again, I made the comment, someone posted some things that some Jewish guys were saying about Americans, and I said, okay, but I'm not worried about the fat guy with the hat on his head and the little rolls down his side of his face. That's not the splinter cell I'm concerned with in America. Those guys, they used mean words. They said mean things about Americans. Okay, but when you're saying you stand with people who cut the heads off of babies, there's a problem there. I mean, you're literally siding with the face of evil. And someone said, well, they've proven that didn't happen. They didn't prove that didn't happen. That actually happened. They said, well, it turned out that was a hoax. It's not a hoax. It's just like I told you yesterday when people say, well, what proof do you have that they're raping people? I can't with this level of ignorance, Brandon. I just can't. So, now I'm really sort of starting to get pissed off on this thing because, as I've said over and over again, but again, nobody's going to take the time to come listen to this show. That involves too much time and investment to truly hear what somebody says. They'd rather try to interpret the 14 words I put on Twitter and come up with a whole ideological philosophy of what my worldview is, what my paradigm is towards the entire geopolitical complex out there in terms of foreign policy and what's happening in the Middle East. You can't do that. I'm saying I want Americans to be vigilant because what's happening there could pop off very easily, very quickly, right here. Now, I had Trey Bow with United Patriot Coin on the show the other day. He was in town. He came by the studio for some business we had to do. I said, sit down on the couch. And people were like, this conversation was boring. It was boring. Well, you didn't stop to listen long enough, did you? We're not here to try to tickle your ears right now. I would love to come on here and tell you jokes and make you laugh and say stupid off-the-wall stuff. But I think we're in a point in time where we really kind of need to start paying attention to what's going on in our world. Trey offered some very valid advice. Said, you know what? Your priorities, you need God, you need fire, you need water, you need food, you need bullets and guns and bullets, and you need, some stuff you can trade with, whether that's bullion, silver, gold. I say 22 bullets, little bottles of whiskey. You need to have medical supplies. Those are valid things. And I don't think the average American out there that's used to, reaching out to Amazon.com or going to Walmart or Target is really, truly ready for something that comes. And I made a social media video this morning about that topic, about how you need to stay out of the cities. You need to be where you or want to be, like, let's say you're going to get stranded. There's no fuel. I don't want to get stranded in St. Louis, right? I don't want to get stranded in New York. I don't want to get stranded in Atlanta. I want to be home. I want to be around my community of people. I want to be around all those things I just listed off, all of my supplies. I'd kind of like to be nearby those things. I want to be near the people that I can call on. And I put that stuff out there and I say, hey, these are the things you need to do to be prepared and be vigilant. And because we keep thinking that it won't happen to us and it can't happen here. And that's simply not true. So people comment back and they say, oh, STFU, which is, shut the F up. I'd love to shut the F up, but I'm not, I feel kind of a responsibility with a platform that I've got to at least issue some things. Because, hey, guess what? World War III, maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe some purple hair biological male that now identifies as a female will say, we need peace in the Middle East. And the leaders of Hamas and Benjamin Netanyahu will come together and embrace one another in a brotherly hug. But I don't think that's going to happen, right? These people are out for blood, and they're not going to have a two-state system that's going to, solve all the problems. They're not. No, they're after annihilation, and they will stop short of nothing but to have that annihilation happen. Now, maybe those won't happen. Maybe we'll have peace in the Middle East. Maybe we'll go back to everybody getting along. Maybe Russia will fold up their guns and head back to Moscow, and maybe China will forget its ambitions for Taiwan. Maybe Iran will quit with this whole research stuff they're doing for nuclear fission and hopefully having a bomb. And we haven't heard anything from Kim Jong-un, have we? We haven't heard anything from little Chubby.
Yeah, no, he's kind of gotten lost in the mix.
Now, the Wi-Fi may be off in North Korea. He might not know anything's going on.
Well, I think he's the only one in North Korea who has Wi-Fi.
I think that's probably true.
Most of the other people don't even have, food.
Yeah, they don't. It's bad. So maybe everybody will just fold it all up and we'll all have peace. Well, you still kind of want to be prepared because the wintertime's coming. What if an ice storm hits and you know what? The ERCOT grid in Texas, power grid goes down again and you need those supplies. So I'm telling you, it's okay every now and then for us to use our platform to tell you to be prepared. I'll just tell you though, the Border Patrol, U.S. Border Patrol, has seen literally thousands upon thousands of what they call special interest aliens. Now, these aren't, Area 51 or the little green guys from the UFOs, the little crusty guys that the Mexican government uncovered. We're talking about people that are illegally in the country. They've been apprehended by Border Patrol agents in the U.S. since 2021. And here's the thing. This has been confirmed by numerous individuals from the Border Patrol. And between October 2021 and October 2023, border agents reportedly engaged with 6,386 individuals from Afghanistan. Now, that in and of itself should concern you. How did 6,386 people get from Afghanistan to the southern border of the United States? How? Why? Now, we had a troop withdrawal, and that was a whole debacle, and I can understand why people wanted to get away from Afghanistan. But there were 3,153 from Egypt, 659 from Iran. What? From Iran? Almost 700 people from Iran? The people that were, heretofore just chanting death to America? 538 from Syria. I don't know if you've ever been to Syria, but it's kind of hard to walk down the street, white man. 12,624 from Uzbekistan, 30,830 from Turkey. By the way, you're not going to survive in Turkey either. 1,613 from Pakistan, 164 from Lebanon, 185 from Jordan, 123 from Iraq, 15,594 people from Mauritania. Wow. That is alarming, the frequency. There have been 160 migrants who matched those on the terrorist screening database that were subsequently apprehended in 2023. That is a dramatic increase. I talked about this yesterday from 2022 where there was, less than 100. But still, it was almost 100. You know how many there were in 2019 when Trump was in office? 0. The year before that, like 8. The year before that, 3. So here we are, man. They're here is the point I'm trying to tell you. Now, I know they all came for a better life. Well, who the hell is that walking in the streets in Chicago and in New York and places like that, standing with Palestine? Which, again, to me, when you say I stand with Palestine, you're not saying you stand with a geographical bordered nation, country that represents a government that is valid or legitimate or even recognized. What you're saying is you stand with Hamas. You're standing with a terrorist organization. Now, again, I don't want Palestinian children or Jewish children dying, but ultimately that's what's happening here. So I want you to play a clip for me, guys. We're going to go to number 1, and I want you guys to pay attention here because they've taken hostages. They've taken Americans. They've taken, men, women, and children hostages. Here's what Hamas has told the Israeli military they intend to do in regards to children. This is an interrogation.
يتوسخ معهم ايش يعني؟
شو معنى يتوسخوا؟ احكي
بديش احكي يعني انا
احكي البنات يعني مزبوط شو بدهم يسووا؟
يوسخوا فيهم يعني ينيلوهم كلمة بس هذيك.
وليش اخذوا الاولاد الصغار الاطفال؟
عشان سخموهم.
All right.
وليش اخذوا الاولاد الصغار الاطفال؟
عشان سخموهم.
Why take the kids and the babies? That's what he asked them. Says we raped them. That's an interrogation. The level of garbage I'm seeing online from Americans who are defending anything close to something that would support these people is absolutely nauseating. It's nauseating. Why do you take the babies? That's what he was asked. We raped them. We raped them. So I don't want somebody sitting, with their fat ass on their leather couch in front of a TV watching CNN or MSNBC, eating their DoorDash, who's perusing through Facebook or Twitter to tell me, how do you know they're raping? I just showed you right there. That's their intention. So I can't stand by and stay silent. I want you to be prepared. I do. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to continue to speak out and say that Israel has the right to defend itself, to seek vengeance, to protect itself. And now we see that Hezbollah this is now a two-front war for Israel. And if you think, so many people have said to me, screw that preparedness stuff. I'm too old for it. I'm on a fixed income. Well, that's a sacrifice you're going to make. I'm just telling you, those who have ears to hear, let them hear. If you can do something about it, I encourage you to do it. If you're willing to sacrifice yourself to that, I hope it doesn't come to that. These are people that are raping children. Oh, and by the way, because of something I posted yesterday, I've been now penalized on Facebook.
Nice.
They've restricted me on Facebook on one of my pages because I put some information out similar to that right there. And, of course, Facebook's excuse, which is bullshit, was that I am promoting hate groups. I'm promoting them. Promoting hate groups. But I've changed my mind, and we're going to go to a break, but I've changed my mind. I told you that maybe there's stuff out there you don't want to see as far as these images and these videos. I've changed my mind. You should see them because we've buried our head in the sand for too long thinking that the evil will just go away. Folks, we're living in a world where we have so diminished America's greatness, our ability to use strength and power to keep the world at some level of peace, that we've diminished that so much that there's nothing. Listen, if something happens here in America, who's coming to our help? Nobody. There's nobody out there. No one is coming. The UK is screwed. They don't have guns to defend themselves. They're overrun already in terms of their population of people that could, activate at any given time. The UK is screwed. They're not coming to our help. They're not coming to our aid. It's all over the world. This is what they wanted. This is why, you know why the 50%? You know why that 50% of Palestine, the Palestinians, why in Gaza, why 50% is children? Because they keep procreating, because that's the way they wanted to dominate the world, was from grassroots, bottom up. Keep having babies so that population-wise, they overwhelm the rest of the world. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Multiply, 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 and then boom, disperse them all over the world to go and do whatever they need to do. And they're here.